Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to show you this cool new radar detector mounting accessory called the Stealth Mount, which is going to allow you to quickly mount and unmount your detector like this, and it takes care of all the power as well, so that when you pop it off the mount here like this, you can see the power cable actually goes right into the side of the detector, and then will just power directly from the mount itself, so now you don't have to deal with the power cables either. Additionally, these adapters right here, you can get them for a variety of different brands. Here's the Escort one, for example, on the Redline 360C. They make them for Uniden and Escort and Valentine, and so you can basically just swap in different detectors like that. The Escorts do take longer to power on, but as you can see, it's going to go ahead and connect like that. So now you can even switch between different brands and different detectors on the fly for testing, or maybe if you want to quickly take it down while you're parked or something, and then just put it back on more easily like this. So now you don't have to deal with the power cables when you're mounting and unmounting too. And the way the mount works is you can just kind of push it back like this, and then you're free to pull it down and it'll release here from the mount. There's some springs right here that it pushes against. And the idea is that you can just kind of slide your detector into place like that, and then click it up and it'll lock into place. I do notice that there's some times where it doesn't lock all the way up the way that it should, and so the detector doesn't actually power on. So that is something that I'm noticing testing it. Also with heavy detectors like this, there is more wobble and play compared to using like the Escort Easy Mag mount. And I also noticed that even with lighter detectors like the Uniden detectors, these ones, there also is a little bit of vibration here, though not as much as the Escorts, just due to the fact that they are lighter detectors. I've also noticed that it makes the detector kind of stick forward a little bit more, which can actually be an issue for some of my interior dash cams, because it kind of blocks the side-facing visibility here for the dash cam, so it can't see out the side as much. And if we want to compare this here to the factory mount, starting here first with the Uniden, you'll notice that with the factory mount, the detector does sit farther back, so it doesn't actually block the visibility here for the side coverage for my interior dash cams. And the same is true with the Escort detectors as well, where the detectors sit a little bit farther back, and so the interior dash cams have better visibility. Though something that I notice here is that with the Easy Mag mounts, because I have to lift them up, a lot of times I'm not actually able to remove the Escort detectors when I have them mounted high and tight like this here above the rearview mirror. Now with the Stealth mount, on the other hand, it actually goes the other direction. So again, we push it in like that, and then we pull it down. And so now I don't actually have any issues with the detector hitting the headliner. I can just put it in place like that and take it in and out, which is actually one of the advantages here of this system versus the Escort one. So I guess, pros and cons to the different mounting solutions. Now, to get a little bit more familiar with how the mount works, let's take a look at the different parts here and how power will actually flow through, coming in like this and then passing into the detector itself, and then ultimately in like that. Now, the way that it works with this half here first, we have a little adapter that's designed to accept an input cable from like your radar detector's hardwire cable or a mirror tap. It's just your traditional RJ11. And then you've got kind of RJ11 here on both sides so that it can connect here like this, and then supply power into the base. Again, we've got a couple different ways of connecting to the car itself, the windshield, the rearview mirror mount. But the main idea is that you've got the power pass through here like this with the different pins that's going to allow you to now pass the power directly into the radar detector without having to deal with any cables once you have these two pieces connected. Now, if you take a closer look here, you can see there's a bit of a spring like this. And the way that is going to work is, again, we're just going to kind of like push back like that, and then it's going to slide in like that. So we push backwards, and then we can pull the detector out. And if you take a closer look, there's a little bit of a plastic lip here like this, and then on the back side as well, so that once they secure into place, they're not going to be coming out now that they've kind of locked into place. Now, this design is also a little bit different than the traditional Escort Easy Mag mount, kind of their magnetic mount. The base here, this is still kind of magnetically connected because the Escort, well, does have to accept magnets here in order to connect, but this part here is different than how the Easy Mag mount works. If you take a look at Escort's factory Easy Mag mount, the way that's going to work is it's basically just going to allow you to pull up on the detector and then down like this. And it, again, does have a little plastic lip here on the front so that it can lock in, and the detector is not going to be falling off the windshield or anything. But it is a different design where the Escort one does use magnets here to hold it in place, whereas the Stealth mount does not. We can pop on the adapter here like this for the detector and then plug it in. And then once we have that part done, instead of relying on magnets, we're just going to be relying on the spring here like this. So there's not actually any magnets at all in use for the main portion of the connector and the quick release or the pass-through. If we take a look here next at a Uniden detector, for this mount, we just kind of push the button to release the detector from the mount, and it just locks into place. And then to use it with a Stealth mount, we've got the same idea where we're just going to be sliding the adapter into place like this. We can, again, remove it just with the little button here like that. But it locks into place. We plug in our detector, and then we can grab the mount like this, and then it just locks into place like this. So now we have it connected, and we have a really easy way to mount and unmount the detector just like that. And it also automatically handles our power pass-through, which is one of the big appeals here, using it here like that. Now with the V1 Gen 2, things do work a little bit differently. It normally uses this suction cup mount here like this, where the detector can kind of slide around in it. But the issue is that we can't use the adapter here to slide onto the mount like this, due to the fact that there is a little bit of a raised bump right here where it could potentially attach. So instead, you're actually going to be connecting it to the sun visor mount. And the idea is you're going to be removing the sun visor clip itself and then attaching this adapter here to the sun visor mount and then connecting the V1 to this modified sun visor mount. And then in order to aim the detector, once you've got it installed in the car, you're going to be actually using an Allen key right here. There's not a thumb screw or anything. And so instead, you're just going to grab one of these. You're just going to be loosening the screw like this. Then you can just kind of aim the detector as needed. And then once you have it right where you want, you grab your Allen key and then you just tighten the screw back in place like that. And then because this is basically like a GoPro style adapter, you can use all sorts of different mounts. Now here in the car, I've been testing it with the single suction cup mount here like this, but they do have other mounting solutions as well. For example, they've got a rearview mirror style mount that's designed to clamp around the rearview mirror stem itself like that. And then you have like your GoPro style mount like this, same as you do right there for the detector itself to connect to. And then we also have a double stick tape mount like this as well, if you want something a little bit more permanent. For example, when I remove the screw here from the mount like this, I can now pull off the suction cup, hopefully. There we go, it's on there pretty tight. And then now I can install the double stick tape mount here like this. And to do that, I'll just take out the screw here. And then it is a pretty tight fit here, tighter than usually GoPro accessories are. But once you get it in place here like this, you can just slide your screw in right there to tighten it down. And then for the rearview mirror adapter here like this, it comes with this clamp here like this. This is designed to go around your rearview mirror. And then it has these kind of like removable little padding pieces, depending on if the circumference of the rearview mirror stem, if it's a little larger or if it's a little smaller. That way you can kind of have it fit your car here like this. It's got two different screws here, so you can adjust it here like this to adjust the angle like that, and then just to connect it to the radar detector again. And then when you go to their website to buy one of these, you're going to see different options for different parts and different mounting accessories. But the way that this works is that you're going to want to choose how you want it to connect in your car. You can either use the traditional suction cup mount here like this. You can use the double stick tape mount here like this, or you can use the rearview mirror mount here like this. Then you're going to need, of course, the main dock itself, which is going to be passing power here from the coupler into the dock over to the receiver. And then the receiver, this does vary by different brands. So there's like Valentine, Uniden, and Escort, for example, and you can choose the different ones that you want. You're also going to want to supply the model that you have, because some of the mounts, like for the Unidens, for example, it does vary depending on if it's like R3, R4, R7, R8, etc. So you do want to specify what detector you have when it asks you for some of the receiver mounts too. And overall, I think a quick release mount like this with the power pass-through is a great idea. It's honestly something that I've been wanting for years. I've seen some people prototyping something like this a long time ago. I even sent the videos out to some of the manufacturers hoping somebody would build something like this, but so far nobody has, up until now, where a couple different third-party developers are basically manufacturing stuff like this. I know there's a couple people experimenting with different things like this, and this is the stealth mount. Again, I think the idea is really cool to be able to quickly, mount and unmount a detector like that and have the power automatically pass through, so you can quickly take your detector down and then put it back up without having to constantly mess with the power cable. I do think there's a few maybe areas of improvement. So for example, I've been testing mostly with the suction cup mount. The suction cup is very, very sticky, which is great. Stickier than what I see with like the factory Escort or Uniden ones, for example. The mount design here, I think, might be some of the biggest areas of improvement. So for example, the detector kind of sticks farther forward, a little bit more so than I would like, which kind of blocks some of the dash cam side visibility, kind of gets in the way of my rearview mirror a little bit more than I would like. And so if the mount right here was actually slid a little bit farther forward to this part of the mount instead of being on the back, that would actually help the detector to sit a little bit farther back, which could be nice. Now that said, there are a couple potential workarounds that you can consider that the developer suggested after I was going over this issue with him. Number one that he suggested is to try to reverse the suction cup mount. So you have the connector here toward the back like this, this with the latch up toward the front. And because it's now toward the back, it's going to slide this whole thing back a little bit. So it's not going to be blocking as much of the visibility here for dash cams and whatnot. It's still not quite enough here in my particular use case, but it's something that could definitely work depending on, you know, the design and stuff of your car. Now, if you need to go even farther back, they make extension bars here like this that allow you to push the Detect farther away from you like that. I'm actually using the one right now that's designed to be used here with the rearview mirror style mount. I just took it off here and put it on there. And because it's just traditional GoPro mounts, it's really versatile. They make longer ones. They make shorter ones here like this, so you can get it exactly the length that you need. And testing it out here first with the longer extension bar, I've got the suction cup right up against the headliner. And when I've got it installed like this, it's better, you can see here for the dash cam, but now I run into issues where it starts blocking some of my rear visibility with the dash cam encroaching into the view behind. Plus now, because it's sitting so far back, it actually starts bumping into the rearview mirror itself and could now, over time, actually start scratching and damaging the rearview mirror, which I don't want. Now, testing it next with the short extension bar, this does seem to help where now I can move the Detector back like this, and that's not going to be bumping into my rearview mirror, which is nice. Taking a look as far as the dash cam, not quite what I need, but at least better than before. As far as rearview mirror visibility, it does still obscure a little bit, but not as bad as before. The main issue that I'm seeing, though, is the fact that it drops the Detector right down at where the rearview mirror itself is going to be blocking radar reception, and so that's not actually going to be that usable if the mirror is going to be negatively impacting the radar detector's capability to function as a radar detector. I could always maybe move the Detector left or something, but then I'm going to be getting in the way of the headliner itself. So a lot of this kind of stuff is going to be really fine-tuning it based on what's optimal for your car, your Detector. Maybe you have more room here between the headliner and the rearview mirror or something. So a lot of this kind of stuff, it's going to be dependent on your car, and so your mileage may vary, but couple ideas and options if you want to pick one of these up and start experimenting with different solutions and optimizations as well. Either way, though, if you like running your Detector up high by the rearview mirror, the factory mounts are going to be more compact and fit above your rearview mirror a little bit nicely, just because, well, there's less hardware to deal with there. Additionally, this coupler here is a little bit annoying when you have to tuck it up in the headliner, especially for headliners kind of tight. I would love to have this removed altogether. If we could just plug the RJ11 cable right there into the mount itself directly and not have to use this coupler, that would be nice. This part here is 3D printed, which is not a big deal, but you can tell it's a little bit, you know, plasticky. There's a little bit of vibration and play here in the Detector itself, which is a bigger issue I find in some of the heavier Escorts compared to some of the more plasticky Unidens. And also I find that with the connector here like this, sometimes when it goes up into place, it doesn't always lock into place. And so I kind of have to like bump it a little bit to get it to go all the way up. With the Unidens, you notice it faster because the Detector powers on pretty quickly. With the Escorts, you might not notice it immediately because it does take longer for the Escorts to power on. The V1s are a little bit faster as well. And so there's definitely some room for improvement here, but overall, I think this idea of having like a quick release mount here like this for the Detector, where you don't have to deal with the power cable, is a great idea. And I love that they're also experimenting with different mounting solutions as well, whether you want a suction cup mount, a more permanent double stick tape mount, or a rearview mirror clamp style mount, kind of like the blend mount, but not like the, you know, metal. It's, again, plasticky. But again, overall, I think this is a great idea. And if you want to pick one up, I'll put a link down in the video description to their website over at stealth-mount.com, and you can order one and choose what mounting solution and what detector connector you would like for whatever detector that you buy. And so with that said, yeah, that's a look here at the Stealth mount. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you're all doing great, and I'll see you in the next one.